you.
I think providing infrastructure is a core element, but on top of that, creating a digital identity platform for citizenry is kind of foundational because, and I believe your government should be the owner of your digital ID.
Yes,
He and I
absolutely,
both agree.
100%
Private companies should not own that. It is the social contract of a citizen with their country to have an identity, a currency, and safety. You should not take that away from them. They should have the digital identity. That digital identity should guarantee the privacy of that citizen. It should help them with their security, but the government should give the identity. Once you do that, then connecting them to the infrastructure that a private company, whether Ericsson or Verizon or combinations of them, in fact, mostly it's a combination, can build, then the question is, what do you do with it? That requires that digital ID so you can start connecting with that citizen. Now the question is, when you connect with that citizen, you must ensure that governments guarantee the privacy of that citizen. Because if you don't do that, you will run into trouble with the acceptance of the idea. So if you want this to be embraced around the world, yes, get the infrastructure, get a digital ID. That's what we used to talk about even earlier. Get that going and then move from there.
And based on that, you can be financially included, you can get the credit,
insurance,
you can
healthcare, education.
Insurance, you can start a business. Everything is built on
SME credit, everything flows from there.
Definitely the future of crypto. I'll tell you one thing we're definitely going to be hearing about in just a little bit is the Wyoming stable token. So the state is creating its own stable coin. Of course, that's the type of cryptocurrency that's supposed to keep parity with its underlying asset. In this case, that would be the US dollar. And the goal is to give individuals and businesses a faster and cheaper way to transact while creating a new revenue stream for the state. So I'm told this is a response to the lack of action by the Federal Reserve, at least in part, in implementing a central bank digital currency, also known as a CBDC. So the commission on the Wyoming stable token here is leading this and hoping that it's going to eventually become sort of the model for a digitized dollar at the federal level. It's interesting right now, though, because crypto investing has become, as you know, more institutionalized than ever with Bitcoin and Ether ETFs. And the industry, I think, is having a little bit of an existential crisis because aside from Bitcoin's isolated success this year, in large part thanks to ETFs, the rest of crypto hasn't really come back to life yet. Seeing that everything rally that the space is so conditioned to see right after the big Bitcoin rally. And crypto, of course, was always supposed to be used for more than speculating on asset prices. So Wyoming, which is so proud of its history of pushing the boundaries of financial innovation, it created the LLC and has passed about 30 pieces of crypto legislation since 2019 to encourage investors and businesses here, is very eager to push this space into its next phase of growth.
This idea that the dollar is going down the tubes and that instability it would cause people to run from it just doesn't seem to hold as much as it did back then. Do you disagree?
Definitely agree. The two ecosystems need to coexist, and I believe will coexist for quite some time.
So why should I care if I'm not a person who's invested in crypto already? If I don't have a dog in the fight, why should I care as a participant in the economy? I'm not going to buy stuff with crypto anytime soon. It doesn't feel like. So what's in it for me?
Well, in the U.S., you might not be buying much with crypto anytime soon, but that's not true about the rest of the world. Bitcoin is different things to different people. And the most important aspect of Bitcoin is that no one controls it. It's just code maintained by engineers in an open source, decentralized manner, and it cannot be diluted by the arbitrary whims of a control P at a central bank. Well, in the U.S., that is primarily what it is right now. I'll concede that. It is about an investment, and especially that's true with the ETFs, with the wirehouses now starting to offer the Bitcoin and Ether ETFs, which is just a wrapper around the actual underlying asset. But again, it is also a payment system. It's so interesting as someone who's been in Bitcoin for this entire, since 2012, so I've been through 3 cycles. Bitcoin became different things. In the beginning, it was a payment system, and it has evolved in the U.S. because of transaction costs to be a high value transfer system, which is what makes it an investment. And of course, because it cannot be diluted, it is digital gold.
Right.
That's probably the best analogy.
So bringing it all together, what can Wyoming do as a petri dish for crypto that other places can't?
Well, Wyoming's done a lot of things. The first and most important thing it did was to define the legal status of it as property and to define the rights and obligations of parties to a transaction involving it, so that if there is dispute about a transaction, a judge in the court system knows how to address that. Sounds boring, but it's foundational. And like so many of the other things that Tanea mentioned that Wyoming has done in its past, creating the LLC, giving women the right to vote, that went nationwide. And the same thing is happening here. Wyoming's laws are going nationwide, especially when we're seeing such anti-crypto policy coming out of those in control in Washington, D.C. right now.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. And as you heard, digital ID is going to be one of the last phases for this fourth industrial revolution, but it's going to be the most important piece. And guys, we know that's how we're going to run into social credit, and that's how your life is going to be ran. We already see it over in China. And we had the World Bank, of course, speaking with Verizon CEO. And we had Digital ID 2020, but guys, we know that's the date when they start to push. And we see the push definitely happening. Now we have Wyoming creating a digital dollar. The reason why, guys, because they know that CBDC is coming. Wyoming has been leading the charge for these digital assets, claiming these digital assets are property. But if you're leading the charge, that means your people are being educated. And unfortunately, it should be happening in other states, but it's not. And is NVIDIA overvalued? It is definitely overvalued. We know we had the media push of AI. And as those drums get louder, we know a lot of the chips are made in Taiwan and China. And the drums are going to cause chaos. And we know that's going to hit the stocks. But remember, guys, it's all planned. The banks fund both sides. The only thing you have to do is sit back, get your popcorn, get yourselves prepared, and be patient, because we know the NWO stocks and cryptos rise back up. And especially they're going to really rise for this fourth industrial revolution. Remember, guys, this is a plan. It moves in phases. And guys, tonight we have the DNC. We have Barack Obama and Michelle Obama in the house. And those speeches are going to be very important. Never forget when Bill Clinton called out his professor, Carl Quigley. And remember, Carl Quigley was put in a room by the NWO to write a book on him. And that never happened again. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
When you think something is overvalued, all it means is you think it's overvalued. It doesn't mean it's overvalued. It doesn't mean you have the truth. You have your truth and you got to act on it, but the rest of the world has their own truth. So my view on investing is make your own judgments, but don't pass judgment on other people buying or selling stocks because you don't like what they pay.
Barack Obama speaking tonight, but Kamala Harris won't actually be there physically.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming, while everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks, and while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, The fourth industrial revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.